If the price of Bitcoin goes up, they don't have to pay any tax on that profit until they sell.
Alright guys, welcome back to another video. Today I have Bitcoin to 500,000. This is a video from Stephan, and I want to react to it as I'm watching it live with you. I have not seen this video yet, but I want to because I want to learn more. Any way I can learn about crypto, financial responsibility, anything I can do to diversify and learn investing.
Oh no, shit. Oh my god.
It's obviously something as entrepreneurs and business owners we want to learn as well. A couple of years ago I did get involved with Ethereum, but not Bitcoin, and then I sold it, and now I'm investing slowly again into crypto. I'm not an expert, that's why I'm watching these videos, and so yeah, let's dive into it. Let's see if it's legit, if it's something that we should think about this year, or maybe not. So also like the video, subscribe, turn the post notifications on, and now let's dive into the video.
Sometimes it feels like we're living in the golden era of the finance and investment community. Although I realize that golden era might not be the proper term here, because we're not talking about gold per se. We're talking about the digital gold, Bitcoin.
A lot of people are talking about there's a lot of cryptos that you could invest in, a lot of altcoins, and they're usually saying that the Bitcoin is the gold standard for crypto.
As of the other morning, Elon Musk and Tesla have announced a $1.5 billion investment.
I saw this on a podcast. Someone was talking about, this was before this announcement. Someone said when it happens that someone in the mainstream industry accepts and starts accepting Bitcoin, and they didn't even say invest into Bitcoin, but just accepting it, that's when all the other, big corporations are gonna follow and start doing it as well. And that's when Bitcoin really blows up. That's where this title comes from, I guess. 500K for one Bitcoin.
Now, obviously, as you would expect from any Elon Musk announcement, the price of Bitcoin surged 20%, breaking past its previous all-time high, and at the time I'm filming this video, it's just under $47,000. If a company like Tesla is investing a portion of their money into Bitcoin, what does that mean for you watching, and should you do the same? Institutional investors have been throwing billions of dollars into it, now thinks Bitcoin could hit 500,000. So here's what you need to know, who's buying in, what this means for you, breaking tweet from Elon Musk, who reminds you to smash the like button for the YouTube algorithm that's totally not photoshopped.
Let's make that smash the like button for Gusten and Photoshop a picture that is photoshopped from... Anyways, let's just smash the like button for me as well.
Tesla announced that they have moved $1.5 billion over to Bitcoin in January of 2021 to, as they say, further diversify and maximize returns on our cash that's not required to maintain adequate operating liquidity. Or in other words, if Tesla has $19 billion sitting in cash, and that's more than they need to stay afloat, they're going to put 8.3...
This is a good point, because I've seen this a lot from the people who are actually good at crypto. They understand it. They always say, do not invest into crypto money that you can't afford to lose. And obviously, maybe I have to add a disclaimer to this video. This is not financial advice, because again, I'm not an expert, but that's what they're saying. And it seems to be the case here for Tesla as well. This is money that they do not require for operating as usual.
3% of that money into Bitcoin, with the potential of, wait for it, one day accepting Bitcoin as payment for their cars. But here's where things get interesting. They say if they do get payment in Bitcoin, they may or may not liquidate upon receipt, which is really just another word for saying they might just hold on to your Bitcoin and continue to accumulate more as they deem necessary. Now, of course, after that, we do have their disclaimers, because as fun as it might be to go and buy $1.5 billion of Bitcoin and then tweet about it, there are some very serious legal implications that could have a negative impact on the entire company itself. Because whether you like it or not, a small portion of Tesla's stock price might now be pegged to the price of Bitcoin, since, like they said, 8.3% of their cash is in Bitcoin. So of course, here's what they have to say about that. And by the way, when I was reading through a lot of this stuff, it's a lot of boring legal jargon. So instead of just reading this off to you, I'm going to give my own super simplified interpretation of...
This is why I watch videos like this, because I don't want to read the documents. I want to understand it quickly and easily, so I know what to do long term with my money and how to invest it.
They actually mean, and that's way more fun anyway. So here's what they say in my own words, about their warning. Right here, they say the price of Bitcoin is extremely unpredictable, so we don't know what it's going to do. Even though it's done well historically, we could lose a lot of money. We could also lose a lot of money in the event of a cyber attack, or if something happens to Bitcoin. We also don't know if laws and regulations might change in the future, so if we hold Bitcoin, it could go down in value, and when that happens, it's going to hurt the financials of our entire company. Oh, and also smash the like button for Graham. And then, here's the interesting part that makes it seem like maybe they're just doing some creative accounting here, but listen up to this. They say that if the price of Bitcoin goes down, that's going to be a loss on their balance sheet, making it look as though they're earning less money. But if the price goes up, they're not responsible for paying any taxes on that profit until they sell. Now, I'm definitely not a tax attorney by any means, but if I were a tax attorney, I would think this would be a win-win scenario. If the price of Bitcoin goes down, then they get a tax write-off. But if the price of Bitcoin goes up, they don't have to pay any tax on that profit until they sell. I also think there's another aspect to this that everyone seems...
Wait, I don't know if that's how it works in Finland too. So I could potentially invest money into Bitcoin. I'll have to talk to a tax attorney about this as well. But so let's say profit, just to make it easy, profit for a year would be 6 figures, 100K. But if I don't sell it, then it's an expense and it's not profit, and I'm not paying tax on that profit. Is that how it works? If you're a tax accountant, lawyer, attorney thing from Finland, put in the comments.
Seems to have forgotten that no one is talking about, and that would be the brilliance in using all of this as free marketing. Think about it for a second. If a company so much as whispers about accepting cryptocurrency, it's as though they're the front page of every major news outlet. Their stock price starts going up, and it's as though everyone talks about them nonstop for a few days. For Tesla, this is totally free publicity, not to mention the mere act of mentioning Bitcoin causes the price of Bitcoin to go up. So not only now is it free marketing, but they're getting paid for free publicity.
That's so true. I didn't even think about that. But now I'm talking about a YouTuber talking about it and mentioning Tesla. And I just said the word too. So this is brilliant.
Brilliance that very few people understand, and I think it's just pure genius. But this is only the tip of the iceberg, and it starts getting really interesting once you start digging deeper, and that I did. Now, this is not the first time that big name companies have publicly embraced Bitcoin and crypto.
By the way, you see that fireplace?
I need a fireplace here as well. That looks cozy.
A cozy office? Poof.
Currency, and here's a few recent examples. First, we got PayPal. In October, the payment company announced that they would enable cryptocurrency as a funding source for 26 million of its merchants. That's a huge push towards legitimizing Bitcoin as a store of value. And it was so popular that users who bought cryptocurrency were twice as likely to log back in their account. Now, second, PayPal is also extending this over to Venmo as well. They're planning to roll out new features to allow their users to buy, sell, and hold cryptocurrency, as well as include budgeting, saving, and other investment alternatives. Now, third, the analytics company MicroStrategy has been keeping a significant amount of their cash reserves in Bitcoin. In fact, in December, the CEO Michael Saylor said he was buying $1,000 worth of Bitcoin, wait for it, every second. That's now equivalent to $2.4 billion of reserves for the company. Now, fourth, Stone Ridge Asset Management saw what MicroStrategy did, and so they bought 10,000 Bitcoins for the price of $114 million. Fifth, the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust holds roughly $25 billion worth of Bitcoin, and now other hedge funds are looking for exposure to Bitcoin too by investing a portion of their money in the trust as well. The sixth, we got another very popular one around retail, and that would be Square. The company recently invested $50 million into Bitcoin, which represents 1% of their total assets. And as they say, for a company that is building products based on a more inclusive future, this investment is a step on that journey. But as far
So what we're seeing here is a range of 1% to 15%. Like Tesla was 8% of their, I think the other companies it was also cash flow, liquid cash. 1 to 15. I've seen some experts say 10% as well. So makes sense.
As far as the reason why all of these big corporations are buying up Bitcoin, it's not necessarily because they believe it's just going to keep going up in price, even though I believe that's a small part of it. But instead, I think it's much deeper than we all think. To go into that why, we should look no further than Cathie Wood from ARK Invest. Now, I know so many people have been asking me to make a video on my thoughts on ARK Invest, and I will say Cathie Wood has been right on a lot of things. When she famously said that Tesla would one day trade for $4,000 a share, back when it was trading at $380 pre-split, many people laughed it off as a distant pipe dream. But sure enough, she was right, and even though I don't think past performance guarantees future results, her funds so far have done phenomenally well. And she also happens to have some good insights into Bitcoin. She said that she's not surprised at the level of institutional investment, because when you look at the correlation between Bitcoin's performance relative to any other asset, it has the lowest correlation, meaning if you buy Bitcoin, it's a way to further diversify your portfolio and increase your returns with lower risk. She also publicly said that other tech companies would soon start adopting Bitcoin, potentially as a hedge against inflation and a weakening US dollar. And I think
that's the whole thing about crypto, in my opinion, is the weakening of the US dollar. They printed reportedly 35% to 40% of the US dollar just last year, 2020, which is crazy. So something will happen. I don't know what or how much, but you can't just do that without consequences.
I think for a lot of people and a lot of companies, that's going to be a driving force behind their investment in Bitcoin. But where this starts getting interesting is her thoughts when it comes to value. She explains that right now, the total market cap of Bitcoin is roughly $650 billion at the time I'm filming this video, which isn't even half the size of Apple or Amazon. She believes that Bitcoin, a decentralized global digital currency, is undervalued relative to that. Her reasoning is that it could go to $500,000 if other large institutions allocated mid-single-digit amounts to Bitcoin, similar to what Tesla has done. And at the rate we're going, that may very well be possible. But of course, there are downsides, including something that I came across while researching this video, and that would be an old quote from Elon Musk on his thoughts on Bitcoin. In 2019, Elon Musk was quoted as saying, "I think the Bitcoin structure is quite brilliant, but I'm not sure it would be a good use of Tesla's resources to get involved into crypto." He also criticized how energy intensive it is to produce and how it would clash with Tesla's stance on renewable energy, and in a way, he's correct. In 2019, it was shown that Bitcoin's energy consumption was more than all of Switzerland, and Bitcoin uses 30 times more electricity than electric cars. Now, to be fair, I tried to research and calculate how much of a carbon footprint actually printing physical money has, and then comparing it to that of Bitcoin. But I got in over my head trying to figure out the exact numbers from a reliable resource, and then putting that all together. So if someone else wants to actually do the math and cite their sources, I will pin your comment at the top of the video. Although I have a feeling that Elon Musk recognizes how energy inefficient mining for Bitcoin is. Hence his $100 million fund to incentivize new ideas to reduce the carbon footprint. So maybe one day he can have his cake and eat it too. Beyond that though, there's also the risk of, well, Bitcoin going down in price. It's no surprise that Bitcoin is incredibly volatile, and a price swing of 20% in either direction really wouldn't be that out of the ordinary. So it's really anyone's guess where it might be 1, 5, or even 10 years from now. But when it comes to myself, I'm very upfront that just a few years ago, I was very indifferent to cryptocurrency. I've covered it extensively on the channel over the last 4 years. I dabbled with it in 2017 just to see how it worked and what it was all about, and for the most part, it was really a novelty. I never took it too seriously until about a month ago when I made the decision to place 1% of my portfolio into a 60-40 split between Bitcoin and Ethereum. And really now that 1% has grown faster than I anticipated. My logic in doing this was simple. I'm keeping too much cash on the sidelines in case a good investment opportunity comes up, and because of that, I would rather take the 1% risk in putting my money in Bitcoin and Ethereum than a 1% risk of not doing that. This is an amount that I'm not going to lose any sleep over. It's not going to stress me out if it goes down in price, and I'm just going to keep it sitting there as a hedge against whatever happens. If it goes up, great. If it goes down, so be it. I think there's certainly an opportunity cost and inflationary risk you take when keeping too much of your money in cash. And even though it's normal for Bitcoin to swing wildly in price, I just think it's safer to expose myself to new asset classes, especially something where a lot of institutions are beginning to embrace.
I agree with this because some people say, well, there's this risk with crypto as well, especially, Bitcoin. It can go up and it can fluctuate so much, but it's not, I wouldn't say after, if you look at like the 5 last years, the way it's going, it's not like it's going backwards after 3 years and then going backwards to what it used to be 10 years ago, and then it's always going, if you look at like the 5-year the chart is always going up, and so even if it fluctuates from day traders and people trading every month and pump and dump and whatever you want to call it, they call it the Bitcoin bubble, and it still keeps going up. And so if you're investing with a long-term vision of this is where I want to have a part of my portfolio, I just think that's smart, even considering that there is a risk with those investments.
Plus, I could potentially maximize my returns, as Tesla would say. And if I were to guess, I would say that over the next 12 to 24 months, a lot of other companies are going to be following Tesla's lead and investing a small portion of their reserves in Bitcoin. It's definitely not without risk, and I'm fully prepared for it to be dropping 90% in value. Although I really don't see any harm in placing a small portion of my money in Bitcoin and Ethereum as just another way to balance out everything else I'm doing. My biggest piece of advice, however, is to not FOMO into it, because you want to make as much money as fast as possible.
This is also so true. A lot of people started investing into Dogecoin. Is that how you pronounce it? And a lot of these smaller coins with this whole Wall Street bets thing. And so I didn't, because of this reason. If I lose my focus from my business and just go into the biggest FOMO and people drop in all their money and their life savings on this small coin here or this little trend here because of FOMO, I don't think that's a long-term strategy. I don't think that's smart. That's gambling, and I'm more into investing than gambling. So that's just my opinion.
Possible. Instead, you should come up with a plan ahead of time in terms of how much money you want to invest, how consistently, how much you're prepared to lose, how long you want to hold on to it for, and then actually stick to the plan. If there's one common theme I've seen throughout every big institutional investor or personal investor of Bitcoin is that they do not just go all in on Bitcoin and then try to ride it to the moon. Usually these investors are placing anywhere from 10 to 15% of their money in Bitcoin among a whole bunch of different investments elsewhere. This is not meant to be a home run investment or trying to get rich as fast as possible, but instead it's just viewed as another way to diversify, and that's probably how you should see it as well.
I agree with this too. So for an example, I want to invest in real estate, but I'm not gonna go just put everything I have into one thing, even if it's physical real estate where I know people are going to be living. So, yeah, diversification.
I think overall, Tesla keeping some of their reserves in Bitcoin is a really good sign for the overall market. And knowing how influential Tesla is, no doubt other companies are soon going to be following. I have no clue if I feel as strongly as Cathie Wood does about $500,000, but for now, I think the future of Bitcoin is looking better and better. And really, as someone who used to be nothing more than a passive observer of what Bitcoin is doing, the more I have looked into and researched Bitcoin, the more I have come to embrace it and to like it. But as no more than 3 to 5% of your portfolio. And also, I just want to put this here at the very end. The day that Warren Buffett or Berkshire Hathaway invest some of their cash into Bitcoin is the day that Bitcoin gains complete mainstream acceptance.
Okay, so now we have another cliffhanger. When this happens, well, I mean, it's Warren Buffett, so I understand what he means. But again, I'm a side, what did he call it? A side observer. And so these are things that I'm looking for as well. Even though my investment strategy is consistent a little bit every single month versus seeing something, FOMOing, and just putting everything you have into it. So
I wanted to say that so that if it happens, I could look back at this as proof that I said it, before The Simpsons did it. So with that said, you guys, thank you so much for watching.
All right, so that was Stephan's video, Bitcoin to 500K. Interesting stuff, interesting stuff. Again, I don't know how to summarize this other than these are things that you should probably look into, observe what's happening, but don't FOMO into it. Learn from experts, not me, on these type of stuff. Funnels, yes. Financial, crypto, stock, maybe if I do this for long enough, I'll start sharing kind of what I'm doing, what I'm investing into. It's not something I'm planning on doing today. I'm just diversifying and learning from smarter people out there, and so I think you should do the same. But never FOMO or borrow money, put into an investment just because you think that is going to skyrocket one day, and I don't think that's smart. And yeah, I guess that's it. Let me know in the comments below what video you want me to react to next. With that said, make sure you like this video, make sure you're subscribed with the post notifications on, and I'll see you in the next one.